Alright, we got the workpiece held between the centers. Got a spur center. I don't think that's going to show up on the headstock end, and just a ball bearing center on the other end. Now, I took that to the bandsaw, as I told you, and this is how much wood I removed, that was I knew I didn't need, so that's quite a savings there, but there'll still be an awful lot of chips produced. Now, I've got a piece of high-speed steel in there as a tool bit, just with the old lantern rocker type tool post. And I'm going to start by turning the major diameter down first, and I'm just using a stare at calipers to check that. As I get closer to the dimension, I will use a micrometer. I like to turn wood as if it is metal, and that's why I much prefer to do it on a metal lathe. Some of you may say, well, that's crazy, you don't turn wood on a metal lathe. Well, I do. I don't own a wood lathe, and I just prefer this method because there's total control over the tool and the dimension. And this isn't a bowl or a candlestick here. It's something that is going to be very close dimensionally. So I'm going to take a couple rough cuts, and then I'll turn the camera back on as I do a little bit of the turning. This is probably 2 hours worth of turning, so naturally you're not going to see all of this. Well, we're turning maple now, and it turns nice as can be. I am running the lathe at a fairly slow speed until the work becomes perfectly cylindrical, because there's always some out of balance going on when you've got a glued up piece. But it's looking good so far, but there's still an awful lot of wood yet to remove. Stop it here real quick and see what it looks like. Pretty nice finish too. Now, you wouldn't want to use common pine, but pattern makers often use sugared pine, and they use mahogany, and some other woods that are really rather expensive woods. Of course, maple is expensive too. Okay, we're going to measure it. I'm down to size now on this larger diameter in the middle, and it's 4 1/4 inches. I made it a little bit larger to allow for the shrinkage of the metal. Now we're ready to remember, you can use a caliper when the machine is running, but never a micrometer. Wear a face shield and stand off to the side just in case any of the laminations would let loose. So you do have to be careful. Many people have been hurt on a wood lathe. I don't run it as fast as what you would on a regular wood lathe. I'm used to metal speeds. Next thing, I'm going to turn down this diameter, which is the core print, and that'll be 2 inches, and it's going to be on each end. But I will do all of the turning on this end, and then when that's done, I will reverse the work so that this end is down on the tailstock end. Now, the final dimension here on this core print is going to end up being considerably longer than what the drawing calls for 2 reasons. Number one, I like to saw off and throw away the center hole, and number 2 is that it is not a definite length anyway, and I might damage the wood a little bit as I try to split the 2 pieces apart, and so if there's any chisel marks or anything, it's going to be thrown away. Then too, I will sand down the draft or taper on the ends rather than turn it, and I'll do that on the belt sander. This is the final pass on the core print on the end. Now, I won't do any sanding until all of the turning is done, because there's probably just a few holes that I might have to use filler on, and then I'll sand those off smooth while I'm at it. And I'm not real satisfied with the way this glue line looks here, so I'll have to put a little filler in there, and also these this dowel pin here, since it's just made of birch, it's kind of, or some kind of foreign tropical wood. It's kind of shredded, so I'll have to fill that a little bit too. So this is progressing quite nicely. So next I'll start with this step. Now, just brought this step down to the diameter, and now I've set my compound for 5 degrees off to the left, and as I face out onto this shoulder, that will give me the draft that I need. So here we go, feeding out with the compound. Ever so slowly. Now if we would check this with a square, this corner here would be 95 degrees. That all needs to be touched up with sandpaper and the corners knocked off too. Now another thing to keep checking is, and just in case the spur center kind of digs its way in and starts getting loose, constantly check your work to make sure that it's secure so it doesn't slip out by advancing your tailstock wheel in just a little bit. You'll be able to feel whether or not you need to take up any slack. Alright, that concludes this end other than the sanding, and I'm going to reverse the work now. This is our last step, our last pass on the last step. Cutting the feed off, and we're coming right into the shoulder, and then we're going to feed it out with the compound, again set it at 5 degrees like we did last time. So now we're just facing that step, and that gives us the pattern draft that we need on that last step. Now we're going to turn this diameter right in here, which will be 3.5 inches, and we've got a step on each side. So I'm going to do about half of it feeding toward the headstock, and then I'm going to reverse the work and finish it off so that I can get at that other step. Or I may decide to use a tool, a left-hand tool, and come in that way. Not sure how I'll do it yet, but I've already taken a couple passes, and I'm feeding this way. Notice that I use my stop, my carriage stop. I think it's a pretty handy way to always come to the same spot on the step. After I'm down to diameter here, then I will feed the compound out again at 5 degrees to give us that angle right in here, so that everything will withdraw from the mold when we make a casting. Okay, I've switched tool holders and tools. The one in my hand is the one I'd been using a few moments ago, but now I have a left-hand turning tool in here. Actually, it's a facing tool, and this is one of the few times in your entire life that you will use a tool holder like this, but they come in handy occasionally, so don't throw it away yet. So we're just going to complete the turning here, going toward the tailstock and up to this shoulder, and I have also turned the compound 5 degrees on the other side of 0. I've also moved the carriage stop over on this side, although it's not too good of a setup, but I'm doing it anyway. So we just got a few more passes here and then we're done.